guaranteequit.com and let you know.
First guest for tonight is Gary Shaw. He's a very amazing and exciting individual. When I first came to Appleton, Wisconsin, Gary was one of the first people I met in the music scene, and we're still friends again today. Gary, welcome to the show.
How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Still hanging in there. How about you? You still performing?
I'm still performing a lot. I've been doing it 40 years, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. Guarantee that.
40 years. I got to ask you, Gary, in that 40 years, do you have any regrets?
About music? No. I always give the music, and it comes back to you in many ways.
I got to ask, how old were you when you knew music was your destiny?
You know, it happened just like that. It was instantaneous. I was 12 years old. My mom took me to the music store, and she said, "You're going to play guitar." I said, No, I'm not interested in that. I grabbed that guitar. I started taking lessons, and within 6 months, I was teaching at that store. I played 5 hours a day. I knew the second I picked it up, that's what I wanted to do. And I came back the next day and I pulled open the catalog and I said, "Mom, I want this guitar right here. It's got 4 pickups. This is the last guitar I'll ever need." And I've been doing it ever since.
Well, I got to say, you are very well known for your skill with the guitar, and you're such a character and personality. I mean, did that come with the years of being in front of an audience, or was it natural?
You know, it really wasn't natural. Because I'll tell you, when I first started playing, I turned my back to the audience because I was so focused on what I was doing, and I got distracted by the people out there. But it didn't take me very long to figure out that I was given an energy and people were focusing in on me, and then I just sucked that up, and that's what I live for today, is to stand out there and go, "Look at me." That's what makes me go.
Some people like myself get addicted to that, because I notice whenever I myself perform, and I do, when I do perform, I find myself, if the audience is not responding in a certain way, I'm like a kid that's looking for that attention. And if I don't get it, I feel really like, well, what's wrong? You know, have you ever felt like, does the audience energy, that's what I want to know, does the audience energy drive you to excel in your performance?
It does. It works both ways. You have to give it before you get it back. It's not a false thing, because it comes from here. And sometimes when I'm not getting that response that I want, and I'm standing up there and I'm looking out and I'm looking at people, and if they're not focused on me, that's when I put my head down, and it comes from here, and I play more intently, and people then, you'll get their attention. It's not a false thing. It's not a show. You got to give them before you get it back.
Now, I'm going to bring up something you're probably going to say, "Where did you get that?" I'm going to bring this up. For 20 years, everybody has heard your skill, and they probably didn't know it was Gary Shaw. Menards.
Correct.
How did that happen? I mean, that's got to be a story in itself.
Yeah, there's always a story attached to everything. That's actually been 25 years that commercial has been aired, and I believe I hear it every day of my life, on the radio or the TV, somewhere. It plays in the stores as well. At the time, I was working as a studio musician for Irish Sax Studios, and they wrote this commercial, and they called me in to play the part. And at that time, I would go in and do sessions. It would take half an hour, and I would make $50. And in those days, that was pretty good money, and I thought, boy, if I could just do this all the time, I'm set. And we did that commercial, and we sold it lock, stock, and barrel, the whole package, as one fee to the vendor, Menards.
Mm-hmm.
And honest to God, I never thought it would go anywhere. I thought it would be a little local commercial, and I hear it every day of my life, and I got $50. And that's all I've ever gotten from that commercial. If I would have just got a penny royalty
When you think about music today, what is it? There's so much in royalties for commercials. There's so many points that you get. I mean, we could go into the business aspect of music, but we'd lose the audience. We don't want to lose you.
If I would have known what I know today, I would have collected it at some portion of it, and I'd be doing fine.
So I gotta ask Gary now, where has music brought you in 40 years? Have you any regrets that you never made it as a major recording artist, like let's say Stevie Ray Vaughan, Santana, or are you content with the fact that it's just the love that you give from what you do?
That is really the truth. And I actually have had some glimpses into performing nationally. I performed with Dobie Gray on a national tour, and I've recorded some albums and done different things. As I got to that point where I was traveling and touring, I really got to a place at a hotel where everything was screwed down on the tables, and I went, I really don't want to be here. I want a family, I want a life, I love this local community, I love to play. And I'll tell you the other thing about it was all the work that you did, you only got to perform for 45 minutes. I get out there and I just about get warmed up and the show was over. Where when you perform locally, you get to play a whole night, 4 or 5 hours, and you really get to give it. It's tougher, but it's more gratifying. You get to actually work out and really get it going. So I came from that background of playing 6 nights a week in clubs, traveling across the Midwest, and eventually that just got old, traveling too much, and I decided I'd like to stay home, raise a family. And when my folks left, I was 17 years old. I went out on the road. My dad said, one piece of advice he gave me was, son, never give up your day job. And I've kept my job and kept working as a musician, and I still do, and I always will.
TQuit.com.